Okay, so it's kind of in the afternoon. It's actually Labor Day, but I am still trying to wake up. And the reason why I'm still trying to wake up is because I was up all night. Insomnia was part of it, but Zeta was the other part of it. Zeta took a nap late at night, not late at night, but late in the afternoon, and she got up right as everyone else was going to bed. And so she's up asking for this or that, and it was crazy. So then at 6 o'clock or so this morning, a we got a ring on the doorbell, and the alarm was sounding, and not the alarm, but So I go and check it out, and it was a city worker saying that your back door on your car was open. I'm like, what? Because I just like it. I was somewhat asleep, and so I said, what? And I was like, okay, thank you. So I closed the door, the house door, and I told Noelle because Noelle went and did her driving video yesterday, and she went to Stillicum and all that, and the kids didn't close the door, so it was open all night, all night. Now, why a neighbor did not? Because there was neighbors right next door who come and go all the time. Now, why they didn't close it or at least knock on our door and tell us? People nowadays, you can't. That's the whole thing about, uh, the difference between now and when I was coming up. When I was coming up, neighbors looked out for one another. Nowadays, neighbors don't really do much. But anyhow, so I went out there, checked it out, drove the car around. It seemed fine. Nothing was stolen, luckily. If it wasn't for that city worker, then yeah. So thank you. So literally the whole night, back door is wide open. I don't mean a little bit. I mean like open. Like you could just sit right in. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. This video is actually about a couple of different things. One is the Amazon rumor in Tacoma, and I'll get to that. But the other one is about a hotel that's here in Tacoma, and it's, I forget exactly where. It's on Pack Avenue. But it's getting close to the 72nd Street area. And it's a notorious motel named the Morgan Motel. That motel was known for a lot of things. A lot of things that are illegal type stuff. And a lot of prostitution issues, stuff like that. It really made the area not so good, right? Because you had a lot of different just things going on that shouldn't be. And a lot of police reports and cops constantly going out there. So the city shut them down because, and they had done this several times, but finally it was due to the owners being involved in criminal activity themselves. The city tried to buy it, but the city basically wants to buy stuff for $1. And if they can't buy it for $1 or $2, they're not going to do it. Even though it probably would have made a lot of good sense and it would have worked for them to do some sort of housing type thing. But they didn't do it. Another agency wanted to take it over and turn it into a place for women and children. But it didn't work out for them either because they needed to raise the funds to do it. They didn't have the money for it. It was for over $200,000, $270 or so. They didn't have the money for it. And so another developer came in and bought it. But let me say this. Now, I don't mean to come off wrong or mean, but there's a lot of places, shelters for women and children, a lot of them, and they're all needed. The big problem that I have seen in most cities are there's not a lot of shelters for men. There's just not. And one of the biggest problems, and especially when we're talking about crime, is men. That is one of the biggest, and it's a compounding issue. And for some reason, organizations are out there, and it's great that they do exist, especially battered women's shelters and different things for women. You don't have a lot for men. And it's a bigger problem than what people think. Not saying that you shouldn't have facilities for women and children. Obviously, you should, but there's a lot of those. But there's not a lot for men. There's not a lot of those in Seattle. You'll find a lot where they'll accept families, maybe, or they will accept, again, women and children. But rarely do you have one that accepts men. And so these men are going to roam around and look for targets like open car doors. And so then we wonder why, and I'm not saying that the homeless are the only ones doing this, but we wonder why the crime issue in different cities are so high. And this is part of it, is because those individuals are not in a shelter. They're just out there. Right? You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I think that the intention is always good, but there's a population of people that's always kind of left out. And so it creates a bigger systematic issue than what people want to really lead on to believe. It creates a much more dangerous situation too. You see what I'm saying? There's been a lot of issues lately in terms of violence and things like that, mostly men. And so this is one of the areas that's missing. But that's, again, not what this video is about. That's just my own personal view. A developer, now I talked about Mr. Moreno and the stuff that he's doing. He actually took a hotel in downtown and he converted it into housing. His ex-wife is actually developing her own stuff, and she's taken this old hotel and she's going to turn it into 11 micro units. Now she's following her husband's lead kind of in the whole micro unit thing, and she also has worked with him on other projects that are in downtown. So it's not like this is something that's new, but it is something that is needed. Now, 11 micro units may not sound like a lot, but it does offer a good injection of help, because in that general area, anytime that you have people who are working and living in that particular area versus just being kind of transient, it really does change the vibe of the area quite a bit. And so bringing in 11 different units is good. Now those units are going to go for about $1,000. So that gives you an idea. These are micro units. So you're probably looking at something about as big as a standard bedroom, maybe a little bit bigger. And so the room I'm in now is a standard bedroom. You're looking at something about this big, $1,000 a month. Now it obviously would have its own bathroom. It would have probably a small kitchenette. It seems like that she's also going to have like a common area. That's a typical theme that her husband does too. It's like a common area, like a common living room space. So it's cool. It's good that that's happening. And it's good that she actually bought it. And Noelle has driven past it and said that she's seen a lot of work on it recently. And so that's good. Now, excuse me. Here's the thing that most people probably watching this video is curious about, is Amazon and the rumor. Now, you remember I told you, and I've said many times, that Amazon probably will be in Tacoma in the next 3 to 5 years, easily. And that Amazon even asked folks which would they prefer to live in. Tacoma, Redmond, or where they choose to work. And that was among other places. And so there has been this rumor that eventually Amazon would come to Tacoma. Now, Amazon is the type of place that doesn't really tip its hand too much, but there has been recently, there's been a few things that's been leaked. Now, I don't know how or who or why, or if it's on purpose, but a lot of people knew that Amazon was going to come to Bellevue right before it happened, and they knew that they were going to bring in quite a few folks, a couple thousand. And they knew that Amazon, when it lost out on New York, that it was going to ramp up operations in Bellevue. Even though Amazon didn't release it quite at that point in time, it was already out there, right? Now, the whole idea of them adding the 25,000, I don't think a lot of people knew. I kind of expected that to happen because it would just make sense that they would take their energy and put it into Bellevue, and since they skipped New York. They had since went on to other places and added a few thousand here and there at a couple of different cities. The rumor is that Amazon is scouting Tacoma and looking for 100,000 square feet of space, which we have downtown, right? We have that and much more. Now, if they were to do this, based on the rumor, this is not Herschel's projections, and this is not Herschel's numbers, or this is not what Herschel's saying. This is based on things that I saw. Is that if they do seek 100,000 square feet, up to 100,000 square feet, that means they can have up to 600 employees. Right? Now, that is big. Even if Tacoma only got 600 employees from Amazon and that was it, that is, especially downtown in Tacoma, would be a massive game changer. In terms of if you're looking at retail establishments, businesses, things like that, it's a big game changer. Economically, massive game changer. When you're looking at just the number of support systems that have to come in place, that's going to be a big deal. Tacoma is attractive for many, many multitude of reasons. One, it has the available space. Two, it's an up-and-coming tech center. Three, it is by far much more affordable than all these other places. For four, it is much more of a city than some of these other places. And it has a lot of infrastructure in place, right? And there's many others, and it also offers an incentive for Amazon to do so. It actually is paying them. So this sounds like it could be a possibility. Now, this is not the first time I've heard this. I've heard from someone else, it's pretty credible, that Amazon is looking to come to Tacoma. I knew about that prior to it being published, that Amazon's looking at Tacoma. I'm like, really? For what? A warehouse? I'm like, no, office. So, makes sense. And then, it was in the newspaper. So it's like, okay. And then now somebody else, a completely different respected person, says that they're looking for up to 100,000 square feet, up to 600 jobs. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not. I don't know. But when you look at some of the things that's happened recently, one of the companies that they use for their co-working type stuff, because Amazon does use co-working space, believe it or not, it moved and created an office here. They have a co-working facility here, right? So it makes sense that when you start connecting all these different dots, it does make a lot of sense. Tacoma has started to pull in quite a few. Now, there are other rumors that a company is leaving here, or pulling their office, their headquarters, or not their headquarters, but pulling a lot of office jobs out because people are working from home. I don't know. But the writing is pretty much on the wall. When you look at it from this perspective, and I said this before, Tacoma has a lot of vacant space, a lot of parking lot spaces that I couldn't afford to buy the land on, but Amazon, it's basically what they make every second. So it doesn't hurt their pockets. It's easy for them to come in and do what they got to do. More than likely, there's office space that they can take over. DeVita is one of them. That building there could supply their needs. The old State Farm building, which would easily supply Amazon's needs, are being filled up by the government contract. So that building is pretty much out. But there's other spaces. 100,000 square feet is quite significant. Amazon moves quickly. And more than likely, because keep in mind, Amazon's only been in Bellevue, having a good presence in Bellevue since 2016, 2017, and they've already have several thousand. And they had only expected to put a few hundred there, and several thousand. Now it's going to be 25,000 in the next 5 years. So in 7 years, they went from 0 to 25,000. I don't think that's going to happen to Tacoma, but I do think that Having a couple of hundred here, I could see 200 or 300 employees here. I could see that. Up to 600, it seems like a lot for Tacoma. And I only say this because Tacoma has always been overlooked. But then when REI is considering the South Sound very strongly, I can kind of see this happening. I can see it happening. So, with that said, the rumor is Tacoma could possibly be getting 600 jobs from Amazon, and that the company is seeking up to 100,000 square feet. It seems insane. Now, what will that do to home prices? Because I know a lot of people are asking that. And I've told people, now is probably not the time. If you're serious about moving to Tacoma, and there's a lot of people that are serious about moving to the area, and I tell them Tacoma is probably going to be your best bet. And I say that not because I live here. There's a lot of people that don't want, I get a lot of people who say stop recommending Tacoma because they don't want more and more people to come to Tacoma. They don't want that. They don't want Tacoma to change much or go the way of Seattle. But I have to be honest with people. There are certain areas I would recommend. University Place is a great city. Stellacum is a great area. DuPont. All of those are great places. I cannot lie. Tacoma's also a great place. There's areas that you probably don't want to live in, but for the most part, Tacoma's a great place. And there are other cities that used to be the city, and folks are kind of ignoring those. But I have to be honest. If you're wanting to live in this area, Tacoma's probably going to be your best bet, or kind of close to Tacoma. And not in King County, because the taxes are going to make you hate it after a while, even if you're in the country. And there is farmland in King County, believe it or not. King County is where Seattle is. There is farmland, but again, you're going to be paying more for that farmland in terms of price and in terms of taxes than you would in any other county out here. And also Bellevue's in King County. But I think that if you're looking to actually come to this area, probably getting a home, buying a home is going to be your best bet if you're able to do so, because the prices are only going to go up. If it hits the news that REI, even just REI, plans to put 50 workers here in downtown Tacoma, if that news breaks, then the prices of everything's going to go up exponentially. And the reason is because we don't have a lot of housing stock on the market to begin with. This home here, I remember when we first got it, within 6-7 months, the value almost doubled. Now the price is almost getting close to doubling and a half, maybe almost close to tripling. That's how fast things change. Now, of course, we've been in the house now for 3 years, but the values are going up because there's so many other houses that are either brand new that's being built, rehabbed, remodeled, and just the fact that there's not a lot of housing stock. So all of that, and the demand is so hot that the prices are going up. It just takes an REI to say, hey, yeah, we're actually going to come to Tacoma, and that's going to change everything and really price a lot of people out who are looking. If Amazon does confirm and say, yeah, we're going to move 600 jobs here, it's game over. Just being honest. I mean, Bellevue already is going to feel the pinch. And they're already expensive. But Tacoma has a lot of room to grow in terms of price and in terms of population. It's going to be a completely different scenario. So if you're in the market to come to this area and to buy, I would say definitely consider doing so rather quickly. Don't wait, because if you wait, you're going to be priced out. And then folks are going to say, what's the next best place to live? And I'm going to tell them, I don't know. Because then you're going to have to start looking down in Thurston County, which is going to it's filling the effects now. But no other city down this area is going to be able to handle an Amazon. You can't put an Amazon in Olympia, really. REI maybe, but really Olympia is just a small city. these other outlying areas, Amazon's not interested in. If they're going to move south, it's going to be in Tacoma, just based on how they do things and how connected Tacoma is. So it takes just one announcement and it's going to be a major, major difference. There's a lot of people who hope this doesn't happen, but I don't see how it couldn't. Just given how everything is right now, I don't see how it couldn't be. And I don't think Amazon's one of those companies that really and truly wants to live the whole, work from home type thing. I think that they're going to do some of that, but I think a lot of it is still going to be in offices, the traditional offices. Seattle, on the other hand, is seeing a lot of vacant offices, mainly because people are having to work from home. So it's not like the leases are up, but some of these companies may decide this is a better bet. Have them work from home. It's a lot easier. That may happen. Seattle may feel the pinch in a bad way. Tacoma has always had vacant buildings downtown and office buildings that are sitting. That's nothing new. We haven't built new offices here of any size. So that's nothing new. So we can't really go any further down in terms of, lack of business. That's been kind of the standard. But someplace like Seattle, that's going to be something that's a bit of a shock. But I see that happening only because the business environment, and this is one of the big things, you can have a lot of the things that some of the city council folks want, but you have to work hand in hand with businesses. You can't look at it as if you're doing them a favor, because businesses will go where it makes the best sense. And right now, it's not looking so good for Seattle, in my opinion. It just doesn't look very good. And what that also does is it's a domino effect, because you're targeting the big companies, but the big companies have a spinoff. It doesn't matter if it's GM, it doesn't matter if it's Amazon. You have all of these other businesses who benefit from having those companies there. Some of them are suppliers, some of them are just third-party vendors, or some of them are restaurants, service industries. All of those businesses feel the effect. So when Amazon starts to limit their workforce in one area, it affects all those restaurants. A lot of those are going to go out of business. A lot of retail spaces are going to go out of business. It doesn't work by just taxing them heavy and expecting them to pony it up. Whereas if you work hand in hand, it's a little bit better, because then you're able to kind of gauge this happy medium. But right now, it's looking kind of dark, to be honest with you. But anyhow, I can go on and on. Tell me what your thoughts are. Make sure you join our Discord. A lot of different things that we talk about there. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to share it. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.